Hi, I'm Deborrah Gesite Liao, the Municipal Health Officer of Gamay Northern Samar in the Philippines. And this is my story. I've always believed that medicine is a journey of faith for me. My parents did not have enough funds to put me through medical school. At that time, I had siblings who were still in high school and college, and everyone knows that getting into a medical school is much easier than actually staying and finishing it. Every semester, I had to pray for provision to pay for my tuition fee. The whole journey through medicine and throughout my medical career has taught me so much about God's faithfulness. I was granted a scholarship to finish school. Upon passing the board exams, the frequent question people asked was, what am I going to do after? Am I going to go to residency, research, clinical practice? And my response would be, I'll be going to the barrios because it's a payback for my scholarship. But then I realized that it's not really a payback because I'm not paying anything back. The more appropriate term would be paying it forward. And this reminded me of one of my favorite movies, Pay It Forward, wherein a 12-year-old kid had an idea for a school project. Do something to change the world. The mechanics of the project was that he'd have to do something extraordinary to 3 people, something they could not do on their own. And instead of paying him back, these 3 people would have to pay it forward to 3 people as well. The 12-year-old kid was oblivious to how things are changing on the other side of the world because of what he started. I was given the privilege to achieve my dream, to study and finish medicine and become a doctor. And I hope I'm able to fulfill the contract by paying it forward. As you all know, for the past 9 years, I have been working in the rural areas, one of the most under-resourced municipalities in the Eastern Visayas region of the Philippines. I plan to stay and finish the contract after 2 years, but I think God has other plans because until now, I'm still there in the barrio. And they say, as a joke, that Gamay is a land of no return. And I didn't know that I'd be trapped, in a good way, I think. I know that the Philippines has areas with very high incidence of poverty, but I was not prepared for Gamay. As with most parts of the Philippine countryside, Gamay has long suffered from persistent problems of underdevelopment. Poverty incidence is high, livelihood opportunities are scarce, and access to social services such as education and health remains limited. I barely have anything I can work with at the health center, much less in the far-flung villages where you need to trek for 2 hours to reach them. And we have 26 of those villages. Poverty robbed the people of hope. They learned how to be helpless because they feel they can't do anything anymore. Children, young girls were forced to work in cities to help provide for their families. You think that's how it is. Maybe they chose to be poor because they didn't try to work enough, or they were not hardworking and persevering enough. And this drew me to the community, where the harsh reality exists. This opened up my eyes to the sense of my purpose. Perhaps this is the reason why I was brought there. We might have graduated and earned a degree, but we never cease to be students. We just have a bigger classroom and more significant lessons to learn. I have 3 words which perfectly describes my leadership journey and the 9 years in the barrios that have taught me. And these 3 wonderful P's are purpose, people, and place. A famous commercial in the Philippines has this tagline, "Para kanino ka bumabangon sa umaga? For whom do you wake up for in the morning?" What is our purpose? Why are we here? I actually might ask myself that. Why am I in this wretched place? My first ever practice is in a place where I don't know anybody. I'm miles away from family and friends. I felt so alone and so helpless, much like how my patients might have felt like whenever they need to seek consultation and they don't have the money to buy their medicines. Not even enough money for transportation just to visit my clinic. Some even die without seeing a health professional. And I know that is the answer. The purpose of our being is something that makes our hearts skip a bit, something that is worth living for, something that's worth sacrificing for, and for some, even dying for. This is our compass. Even if we lose our way, get discouraged, or grow tired, our purpose will guide us. For most people, it is a lifelong search, the reason for our existence. I'm no expert in this, and up to now, I cannot really say that I'm living my life's purpose, but I do hope and pray that I'm living out my life in such a way that I'm making a difference in someone else's life, even for just one person. And this leads me to the second P, people. Who are my people? Waray is a local dialect, but it is also what people living in the province are called as a group. So they call themselves Waray. Waray also means nothing. In the literal sense, they were named and perhaps think of themselves as having nothing. I'm not sure about the historical context of the word, but somehow it reflects the helplessness and the nothingness that I have observed in the area. I'm sure the people do not want to be nothing, but it has been centuries of struggle since the Spanish colonization that brought them to where they are now. Families live on meager resources, young children work to help to raise income. They try to be better. Believe me, they are very hardworking and very resilient. When Typhoon Haiyan struck us, it left us with so much devastation, but everyone stood up and rebuilt their lives. Warays are fighters. They fought hard against the colonizers, and now they're fighting for a better life. Hope still remains, even if just a flicker. I have hope for the future. The Philippines' national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal, said, "The youth is the hope of the motherland." I believe that we need to invest more in our youth, to infuse fire in them, to infuse hope and not despair. It's time-consuming, resource-intensive, physically draining, and emotionally exhausting. But if not me, if not us, who will do this for them? Who will help the next generation to have better chance of life? And I hope that the next generation of leaders will rise up and be game changers. And maybe the word waray will mean more in the future. This leads to my third P, place. I can barely see Gamay in the map of the Philippines. It was unknown to me up to at least 3 days before I was deployed. I had to do research to find out where I'd be heading, and I Googled the place because the Department of Health then was not really able to paint me a picture of my future assignment. And I was a little bit shocked. I found 2 articles about the place. One was about an outbreak of diarrhea where patients died, and the other one was about an ambush, an attempt to kill a prominent person. So I was like, what am I getting myself into? I had to keep those details from my family because I didn't want to scare them. Otherwise, they won't allow me to go. Perhaps my mother sensed that, so she insisted on accompanying me there, and so she heard all the horror stories from the locals themselves. And I saw her face, and I knew that if she had her way, she'd bring me back to Manila. The good thing was that all that already changed. Great improvements have happened for the past 9 years. But even back then, for some reason, I have peace. I know in my heart I am in the right place. This is where I have to be. People often ask me, until when will I stay in Gamay? When will I go back to Manila? And I can't answer the question because I don't really know. I had plans before of leaving after 2 years. And my prayer was, God, please keep me safe for at least 2 years just so I could go home to my family whole. And God answered, I'd keep you safe because I will make you do more than you could ever hope for or imagine. You are right where you need to be. So where are we supposed to be? It may not even be a physical or geographic place. They say that the best place is where it is most uncomfortable because this is where the magic happens. Maybe all we need to do is step out of our comfort zones and discover the great things that can happen. All throughout our fellowship, I've met great people who are so passionate with what they're doing. All of you in this room, my dear fellow fellows and mentors, reaffirm the 3 life lessons I've learned: purpose, people, and place. We have so many choices in life, but my ask is that you consider choosing to live a life of significance. That is to live with a purpose, to live with passion, to live with wisdom, and to live by faith. There is a whole world, wide world out there, a world that we won't like that much or not at all, but the opportunity to make the change is in our hands. We have been tapped to pay it forward. Thank you.